We begin the program with congratulating the Scorchers. They have been debutants to finalists. Quite a story the Scorchers are telling and rewriting the history books at the Women Africa Cup of Nations in Rabat, Morocco. Congratulations to the Scorchers of Malawi. And it's time for business now, right here on Zodiac. My name is Alex Banda. Coming up in today's program. Continental Holdings lists on Malawi Stock Exchange with its initial public offering, raising over 135 billion kwacha and a strong 75% share gain on the first day. Reserve Bank of Malawi maintains policy rate, but banks floating their policy rate. We bring an expert view to find out what this means. So Continental Holdings is now a public listed company. It has become the 17th company to list on the Malawi Stock Exchange. Now, speaking during the listing event in the commercial capital Blantyre, CHL chairperson Gibson Ngaramira said the company is committed to creating value for shareholders, supporting clients, and contributing to the national prosperity. Like I said, in its public offering, CHL raised 135 billion kwacha by retail investors, a feat that Chief Executive Officer Rapson Kamanga did hail, describing it as remarkable.
I would say that we haven't yet started actually trading in terms of secondary trading of actually CHL. But what I could say that based on the response from the general public, this listing has been backed up by lots of retail investors, which is quite encouraging because it signifies the confidence which the retail investors have on the Malawi Stock Exchange, but also in terms of actually the counter itself. To us at the Malawi Stock Exchange, it's a celebratory news. It's celebratory in the sense that we have seen that at least most of our sensitization campaign in terms of trying to attract retail investors to utilize by investing on the stock market. In fact, he has realized some actually benefits and fruits because the number has actually been quite overwhelming in terms of investors coming in terms of investing on this counter. And now, in terms of how the market has reacted, I would just respond basically on the primary response because on the secondary market, that one we will see it as we're going to do the trading on.
Well, coming back to Ngaramira, he disclosed that 10,000 people have already bought shares in the company during the IPO, and gains on the first day hit 75%. Our contributor from the commercial capital branch, Chigone Mpande, caught up with Ngaramira.
Press Trust is a national asset. It is a trust fund for the people of Malawi. So Press Trust has been partnering with Trans-Africa Holdings for that long. And therefore, the partnerships that we've built over the years is what brings us here today. And maybe let me preempt that this partnership that was with Trans-Africa Holdings Limited and Press Trust now has expanded to more than 10,000 new shareholders, both individual investors as well as other institutional investors. So you can see that we are very excited today because the IPO has been a very big success. I think the stock exchange did mention that this is the largest that the market has been able to mobilize capital from Malawi. So we are very, very excited that this day has come, and finally we are trading on the Malawi Stock Exchange. We remain open. The shares will be trading on the exchange. Obviously, those that missed the IPO, there is a chance as we speak for them to come and buy shares in Continental Holdings. So we welcome them to join the other 10,000 that have already shown their trust and confidence in this counter. You know, we're a financial services group and we are very resilient. Over the years, you can check our records. We've been very resilient over time, and we believe that the future can only get better going forward with the expanded shareholder base that we have now.
And Deputy Governor responsible for economics and regulation at the Reserve Bank of Malawi, Henry Matanga, said the listing demonstrates that investors have confidence in the Malawi Stock Exchange. And he also urged companies to emulate Continental Holdings' gesture becoming a public listed company to raise the capital.
We are very excited with this listing because for 7 years, 5 years? Yeah, there hasn't been any listing on the stock exchange. So this is a milestone and we're excited. It speaks volumes on the confidence that the investors have on the Malawi Stock Exchange, but also the fact that they have confidence in the fact that they are well regulated, because you cannot trust your funds with an institution if you feel that that institution is not well regulated. So it's a pat on our back in terms of the regulations that we have on the market, and we are happy that this listing has taken place as a show of confidence in our regulatory framework that we have in place. It's very important for companies to go public because it's an easier way of raising capital. But we know that companies sometimes are not comfortable because the listing or going public has its obligations. Some of these obligations entail financial reporting, transparent financial reporting, good governance, good corporate governance, and also making sure that the risk management is in place in these companies. And companies, before they list, they have to make sure that they demonstrate that they are capable of doing these things, because that's what brings confidence to the investors to bring their money on the stock exchange or to bring their money to a company that is going to be listed. And therefore, our request to to companies, be it in the agricultural sector, be it in the energy sector, be it in the mining sector, our request is that the stock exchange is a platform where you can easily raise money, and therefore let's make sure that we put our houses in order so that we are able to raise this money easily, so that we can grow our companies from strength to strength.
And board chairperson for the Malawi Stock Exchange, Professor James Komba, encouraged companies and individuals to continue investing on the Malawi bourse.
This is a milestone, a very big milestone for the Malawi Stock Exchange, and we are all delighted to have the Continental Holdings Limited as part of the Malawi Stock Exchange now. And our encouragement onto the investors, both the individuals and the institutional investors, is to keep on trusting us, because these companies are highly regulated. So we have confidence that the shareholders will reap or will get the reward as they envisage through the investment that they are making through the Malawi Stock Exchange. Because we are just a market connecting the buyers and the sellers of the shares. The culture of investment must be part of us. More especially, I encourage the youth to be very vigilant onto the investment, because we are looking at the long-term capital investment. So when they get involved in such kind of investments, yeah, they should be able to be well and good into the future.
Well, with that, the Minority Shareholders Association of Listed Companies, Misaligo, has on the flip side asked government to list some of its state-owned enterprises on the Malawi Stock Exchange to enable indigenous Malawians own part of the businesses. Misaligo General Secretary Frank Harawa is speaking on this suggestion.
Yes, we are saying yes, we cannot stop to call for that. Government has been more than 70 companies, Ms. Hans. We're talking about here like the Mozipat, we're talking about the Salima Sugar. For those companies to really grow and become profitable, there's a need for them to list on the Malawi Stock Exchange. A good example is the listing of Sunbelt, where government has 77% shareholding in Sunbelt. Look at the performance of that company. It was a public company, subject to public scrutiny. It has to produce its financial reports. It has to convene an AGM of the shareholders. Because of that, there is transparency and accountability. Therefore, it is important that government has to list some of these companies, and at the same time, and with the GNM, it was given first of all to indigenous Malawians. So that's our call on government, that we would like to see these companies listed on the Malawi Stock Exchange. Some of the companies under its arm.
Moving on, the Malawi Revenue Authority, MRA, has installed 22 digital excise tax stamps in 14 companies aimed at tracking excisable products that companies are supposed to pay excise duty on. MRA Head of Corporate Affairs, Wilma Charuru, told Business Now that under the declaration of the goods, which I must say under declaration of the goods by some companies, was becoming a challenge, and the installation of this machine, dubbed Galondola system, they are now able to track and monitor quantity of goods that companies are producing on a daily basis.
Yes, through our partner SIGPA, we have installed the Galondolas regime, and as I've already discussed, I mean that's just a system that tracks and traces the excise that's supposed to be paid. So far, there are 14 sites that have been installed, and those are on 22 machines all throughout the country. And these include companies like Castel, Chibuku, rub processors, for example, and Coca-Cola.
What are the major challenges we're facing before installing these machines?
Of course, there was under declaration of products. That's the main reason of what excise tax would want is that it has to be accounted for per product. So previously, when products were being made, obviously MRA could not be there to see exactly how much stocks keeping units were produced. So with the installation of these machines on the production lines, we're now able to see in real time how many products have gone through the system. So that has made its accountability much more easier, because in real time the data is sent and we're able to see. Whilst previously we would probably need to go in the next day or a few days later, and then maybe just to estimate to say how much did actually go through the production line. But right now it's in real time, and where the machine is able to trace as the product goes through the product line. The revenue contributions has been quite significant. With some local manufacturers, we've seen increases of up to maybe 100%, even as high as 200%. So this is a significant contribution to revenues. What challenges maybe will be there. Sometimes what we see is that obviously the stamps are bought electronically, and they have to the manufacturers have to buy them in advance. So sometimes if they have not done their predictions right, they might run out of stamps, which means that they just have to do their.
Now, still with the tax collector, that's the MRA, says the introduction of the automated system used to clear goods, dubbed Ascuda, has improved operations at the Bagiri Muluzi International Airport. And MRA Station Manager for Customs, Paulini Chagonabanja, has told Business Now that this facility has helped to cut down on delays. That's the cost of doing business, and of course the downtime, as well as the queues that traders previously faced. Chagonabanja says the new system calculates duties and taxes accurately, and this is also helping to boost revenue collection at the airport.
So over the years, there's a lot of benefits for this interface. In the past, we used to process this declaration under manual processes. So the interface has eliminated manual and physical documentation processes. That is to say, we no longer use any manual processes. The system has allowed digital sharing of data. This is to say, the same system we are using in Ascuda system is the same system MPS is using. So what actually happens is, when the declaration is launched by a clearing agent and is assessed, the validation and the certification is done online by Malawi Bureau of Standards. When they confirm, it automatically comes to our window. There's also improved and reduced time release. Time release, in this case, shall mean the time whereby the entry is launched to the time the entry is released. In the past, because we needed to move between the two offices, it was taking time. But now the time is really reduced because once the entry is assessed, validation is done. After validation, our process continues. We are also able to demarcate in the system how much duty has been collected on a certain consignment, plus how much cess has been paid on NPS. In the past, we used to calculate this manually, but now the system is able to demarcate AI paid, that is advanced income tax paid, import duty, excise duty, and import excise. And down below the declaration, then comes these other non-revenue levies and other collection which we are doing on behalf of other organizations, including Malawi Bureau of Standards. So if you ask me today, I'll go in the system, run a report to produce how much we've collected on behalf of Malawi Bureau of Standards. That's a plus for both the stations, because even for the Malawi Bureau of Standards, they will be able to project how much they are going to collect per consignment.
And finally, the Reserve Bank of Malawi has maintained its policy rate at 24%, citing the need to sustain the decline in inflation while supporting economic recovery amid a downward revision of the country's 2026 growth forecast, announcing the decision after its August 5th and 6th meeting of the Monetary Policy Committee, which they said they are trying to keep up with the rate being unchanged, which will allow previous measures to control inflation to continue taking effect while avoiding further pressures on the economic activity. The central bank says inflation also eased to 22.9% in the second quarter from 24.3%, but has revised the economic growth projection downwards to 2.8% from the initial 3.8% due to the weak non-agricultural sector performance. An economic expert, Hano Ngwata, says this decision reflects the current economic conditions.
First of all, 24% it's on a higher side. Usually the policy rate when the economy is good it's usually single digit or below 15%. But now looking at the economy, which
Well, on her part, Malawi Economic Justice Network Managing Executive Director Betha Pili said the decision will help to contain inflationary pressures and support price stability.
In layman's language, what it means is that monetary policy rate, it is the price of money, so to say. Now, if it is maintained, if it has been maintained, what it means is that we are at a state when we will not be able to have as early as possible forex alignment, inflation, number one. What it means is that the value of the money is the way it was, because I'm saying it's the price for money in a way. What it means is that the food and the fuel inflation is expected to be stable. It will stabilize, because the monetary policy rate, when it is stable, it helps that our prices should not run out of control. You wouldn't go at a market today, find the same commodities cheaper, and then tomorrow. So the stable, the monetary policy rate, it is the stable, the commodity pricing in a way, and that we wouldn't be expecting a higher increase on key commodities in Malawi. So it is a good move, because what it means then is that Malawians, the ultra poor, but also the poor, will still have hope that our prices will not go high.
Well, the next Monetary Policy Committee meeting is scheduled for October month end. On that note, we've come to the end of this edition of Business Now. Before I go, once again, congratulations to the Scorchers. My name is Alex Band. Until that time, it's goodbye.